The most dangerous way someone can use your empathy is not by making you feel sorry for them. It is by making you feel responsible for what they do next. They hurt you, then show you their pain. They cross a boundary, then remind you of everything they have survived. They create a crisis, and suddenly you are no longer asking whether their behavior was acceptable. You are asking whether protecting yourself would make you cruel. That shift is the trap. Empathy is one of your greatest strengths. It helps you understand people, repair conflict, and respond with humanity. But in an unhealthy dynamic, that same strength can be turned into a control system. Your compassion becomes the reason you stay silent, give another chance, ignore your instincts, or carry consequences that were never yours. This does not mean every emotional person is manipulative. People can react badly, feel overwhelmed, or communicate poorly without intending to control you. What matters is the pattern. What happens when your empathy repeatedly protects someone from accountability while costing you your peace? Here are 6 ways that pattern often appears, and how to protect yourself without becoming cold. The first is the pain override. You bring up something they did. Maybe they insulted you, lied to you, embarrassed you, or ignored a clear boundary. But instead of addressing the behavior, they introduce their suffering. I have been under so much pressure. You know what my childhood was like. I cannot believe you are doing this to me right now. Their pain may be real, but notice what happens to the conversation. The original issue disappears. You become the comforter, and they become the wounded person. The person who was harmed is now managing the emotions of the person who caused the harm. Psychologically, this works because empathy makes context feel morally important. Once you understand why someone behaved badly, you may feel less entitled to respond to what they actually did. But an explanation is not the same as an exemption. You can acknowledge someone's pain without allowing it to erase your own. Try saying, "I understand that you are struggling, and we still need to address what happened." That sentence holds 2 truths at once. Their pain matters. Your boundary still stands. The second pattern is weaponized guilt. This often appears when you say no. You cannot lend more money. You cannot answer another midnight call. You cannot cancel your plans again. You cannot keep solving the same emergency. Then comes the pressure. I guess I know who I can count on. Do not worry. I will handle it alone, like always. After everything I have done for you, the message beneath the words is simple. If you care, you will comply. This is powerful because empathetic people often measure goodness by how much discomfort they are willing to absorb. They may confuse disappointing someone with harming them. But someone's disappointment is not proof that your decision is wrong. A healthy request allows room for refusal. A controlling request often punishes refusal with guilt, silence, anger, or emotional withdrawal. Before changing your answer, ask yourself one question. Am I choosing this freely, or am I trying to escape the feeling of being a bad person? That pause can expose the mechanism. The third pattern is the permanent emergency. Some people are always in a crisis. Every week brings a new disaster, conflict, betrayal, financial problem, health scare, workplace drama, or emotional collapse. At first, you help because the situation seems exceptional. Then the exception becomes the relationship. You become the driver, the therapist, the problem solver, the lender, the mediator, or the person who stays awake until 3 in the morning. Meanwhile, they make few lasting changes, reject practical solutions, or repeat the choices that created the crisis. The goal is not to judge someone for struggling. Real hardship can be chaotic. The warning sign is a repeated structure in which your empathy supplies unlimited rescue, while responsibility never moves back to them. Rescuing can feel loving because it reduces immediate pain. But repeated rescue may also prevent clarity. It teaches the other person that urgency gives them access to your time, energy, and attention. Support does not have to mean takeover. You can say, "I can talk for 20 minutes, but I cannot solve this for you." Or, "I can help you find options, but the decision has to be yours." Compassion with limits is still compassion. The fourth pattern is selective vulnerability. This is when someone reveals pain at the exact moment accountability is approaching. They may be dismissive when you are hurt, but deeply vulnerable when you are ready to leave. They may avoid honest conversations for months, then suddenly share a painful secret when you stop cooperating. Again, the emotion may be genuine. The question is not whether they feel pain. The question is how the vulnerability functions in the interaction. Does it create deeper honesty and change, or does it stop you from making a decision? Healthy vulnerability invites connection. Strategic vulnerability can create obligation. You may think, "How can I set a boundary now, after they trusted me with this?" But disclosure does not create ownership. You can respect what someone shared without surrendering your right to step back. A useful response is, "Thank you for telling me. I am still going to take the space I said I needed." Do not confuse access to someone's wounds with responsibility for healing them. The fifth pattern is empathy testing. They create small situations to measure how much you will tolerate. A disrespectful joke, a last-minute demand, a minor lie, a boundary crossed and dismissed as a misunderstanding. Then they watch your response. If you immediately excuse it, the next test may be larger. This does not always happen consciously, but behavior that receives no meaningful consequence often repeats. Your empathy can become a training signal. No matter what happens, you will search for the most generous explanation. That is why your first interpretation should not be your only interpretation. Instead of asking only, "What pain could have caused this?" also ask, "What pattern is this creating?" And "What happens when I object?" The reaction to your boundary often reveals more than the original mistake. Someone acting in good faith may feel embarrassed, defensive, or uncomfortable, but they can usually return to the issue. Someone invested in control may mock your sensitivity, change the subject, punish you, or make you defend your right to have a boundary at all. Your empathy should help you understand behavior. It should not require you to deny what you see. The sixth pattern is emotional debt. This is the idea that because someone once helped you, loved you, supported you, or stayed with you during a difficult period, you now owe them unlimited access. They may not say it directly. Instead, the past appears whenever you resist them. "I was there when nobody else was." "You would not be where you are without me." "So, this is how you repay me." Gratitude is healthy. Permanent indebtedness is not. A caring act becomes controlling when it is repeatedly presented as a contract you never agreed to sign. Real generosity does not create lifelong authority over your choices. You can appreciate what someone did and still reject what they are doing now. This is where many empathetic people get trapped. They believe setting a boundary rewrites history. It does not. You do not have to turn someone into a villain to admit that the current dynamic is harming you. The deeper lesson is not to become less empathetic. It is to become more precise with your empathy. Empathy asks, "What might this person be feeling?" Wisdom asks, "What are they doing with those feelings?" Are they using pain to communicate, reflect, and change? Or does their pain repeatedly become a reason you must comply, forgive, rescue, or remain silent? Watch the pattern, not just the apology. Notice whether accountability leads to changed behavior. Notice whether your no is allowed to exist. Notice whether conversations leave you informed or merely confused and guilty. And when you feel the urge to abandon yourself in order to prove that you care, stop. You can be understanding without being available for mistreatment. You can care about someone and still leave the room. You can recognize their wounds without volunteering to become one of them. Your empathy is not the problem. The problem begins when someone convinces you that compassion requires self-betrayal. Protect the part of you that cares. Just do not hand it to people who use it as a key. This is MindShield. Learn to recognize control before it reaches your decisions.